officially say willkommen to each and every one of us, even as we prepare to attack this brief impromptu lesson that I've prepared for us, right? So, as I was going through some of our comments, just checking through, I realized most of you have a challenge in determining the gender of nouns. It's a topic that, truth be told, even the natives find a challenge in. So, of course, there's ways one can use to mitigate that challenge, right? So, in this short live that we're going to be having today, we're about to talk about some of the rules, but we shall specifically be dwelling on the feminine nouns, right? We're going to be seeing some of the rules but one could use in determining the gender. This is going to focus specifically to the feminine nouns, right? Now, of course, you know the three articles we have are der, die, and das, right? There is der, there is die, and then of course there is das. All right. So the rules that I want to give us today are going to specifically be for the D, the feminine ones. So let's go ahead then and mention them. First of all, those of you who are yet to do the topic on gender, there's a video link I think I would share with us here in the channel whereby we address all the three genders. Now, this is going to be on the D, feminine, right? So here are the rules then. The first part, you're being told that nouns in German which end in IN, all the nouns in German but end in IN are normally D. All nouns in German which end in IN tend to be feminine D, all right? So some examples include die Pilotin, all right, die Freundin, and then of course die Ärztin and die Präsidentin. The point being that all the nouns in German that end in IN tend to be feminine, yeah? Do you know some other examples? Feel free to share below. So all the nouns, this IN is equivalent to the English EWS, right? It is the one that is equivalent to the English EWS. So all nouns you will ever meet in German that end in IN and are referring to either profession, female profession, or so on, they will be feminine D. All right, that is the first one. Now, the second point being that the cardinal numbers tend to have the article D. Now, normally, numbers can be divided into categories. You can either use them as nouns or as adjectives, right? So as nouns, the cardinal numbers tend to be D, all right? So you have die Eins, die Zwei, die Null, and even die Vier, all right? So the point being that if you use the numbers as nouns, they tend to take the article D, all right? That is as nouns. And then in the third category, now I believe you see that nouns ending in IN are feminine, cardinal numbers are feminine, and then the third point being that nouns which end in HEIT, height and kite, nouns in German which end in height, HEIT, and kite, these ones tend to be feminine also. All right. So some examples here include die Freiheit, nouns ending in height and kite tend also to be feminine, like die Freiheit, die Möglichkeit, die Sicherheit. You also have die Schnelligkeit, die Gelegenheit, and so on and so forth, right? So all of them that you will meet ending in kite and height, these ones would be considered feminine, yeah? Do you know some additional examples? Feel free to share below. That is height and kite. Now, in the fourth category, says that all nouns you will meet ending in shaft, nouns ending in SCH, AFT, shaft, these ones also tend to be feminine. Examples include die Freundschaft, die Freundschaft, all right, die Mannschaft, okay, die Wirtschaft. These ones tend also to be feminine, right? I believe you've seen the group so far. Remember, the first one was nouns ending in in are feminine. Number two, cardinal numbers are feminine. All right, the numbers, if I use them as nouns, they are feminine. Number three, we've said nouns ending in height and kite, they're also considered feminine. And then the category, nouns that end in Schaft are also feminine. Die Freundschaft, die Mannschaft, die Wirtschaft. All right. And then in the other category, the last one, you're being told nouns in German that end in ung. Nouns in German which end in ung also tend to be feminine, including things like die Lesung, okay, die Lesung, die Wohnung, okay, die Zeitung, newspaper, die Besprechung, all the nouns you would meet which end in ung, those ones tend to be considered feminine. All right, so these are the main examples of nouns that tend to be considered feminine. I think I would add us some one or two, although these ones tend to be exceptional, right? Now, in the next rule, kindly copy, nouns ending in E. I would say most nouns which end in E also tend to be feminine. Remember, it's most, not all of them. All right. Most nouns that end in E, right, tend to be feminine, but not all of them. All right, not all of them. So let's list some examples of nouns which end in E but tend to be feminine. Remember that there's an exception here. There are those which end in E and are feminine, and then of course there are those which end in E and are not feminine, right? So examples of those ones. I can see somebody has given us one. That is die Maschine, right? Die Maschine, all right? Yeah. There is also die Schokolade, die Maschine, die Schokolade, all right? You also have die Melone. Look at that. So you're saying that most of these ones with ending E, feminine, die Maschine, die Schokolade, die Melone, all right? Which other one ends with an E? But of course, there are exceptions. You will be seeing in German there are those nouns which end in E, but there are exceptions. All right? We could list some exceptions here as we continue to mention some few that end in E. Die Maschine, Schokolade, Melone, yeah, die Zigarette, okay, die Zigarette, all right? Which other one ends with E? Die Sonne, that is die Sonne. And even Tasche, there are so many of them, right? Die Tasche. So these ones ending with E, you can see they will be feminine. Now, we have exceptions. Let's now go ahead and mention some exceptions because there are those that end with E but behave exceptionally. So here are some exceptions of those ones which end with E but are not D. All right. Now, the first one is Name. Der Name. Look at that. Now, you can see Name ends with an E, but it is not die Name. It is der Name. All right. Der Name. There is also this other one I would pick from an adjective, and that is das Gute. Now you can see this one also ends with an E, but it is not D. All right. So the point being that We could say 80%. Is it 70 or 80% of nouns ending with the ER feminine? But exceptions, things like der Name, das Gute, and so on, and even so forth. All right. So these are the endings. Anytime you see, kindly give them the article D. IN, cardinal numbers, height and kite, and even shaft. All right. The last one we saw here was ending UNG, also tend to be feminine. All right. There is one point I'm forgetting. There is this other point for feminine nouns, and this would be nouns ending with the T. Is it true? Nouns which end with the T also tends to be feminine, like detat, right? Detat, etc., etc., right? So, ladies and gentlemen, I believe these rules would help you out in establishing the various gender of nouns. This would bring us to the end of this short live. Now, for those of you who are saying they need more of these rules, I've established this booklet specifically for you. Here, I break down even further rules that would help you in establishing the various nouns gender. All right. If you're looking to have a copy of this book, kindly, I would pin a comment section so that you'll be able to get even further rules regarding the same. All right. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, das ist alles, and I will be seeing you in our next live. Tschüss, tschüss.